Alright class, if you have issues with Microsoft Visio, you feel free to download ArgoUML and we're going to show you how to do things there. The steps are the same for those of you who decide to stay with Microsoft Visio. So here I'm going to go to the create menu and I'm going to say new class diagram. And remember, this is your first cut design class diagram. This is your lab, your first name, last initial, lab 6 or lab 6 your name. What you have here is your methods and a few examples and navigation visibility. So I'm going to say new class and I'm going to add a few attributes here, 2 attributes, and I'm going to add a few of the operations. I'm going to name this a colonist class. Here I have my name string and my entry date. I will have my update last name as a method and my set entry date. So this is the day they enter, and the method here helps them to set that information for the object. I'm going to add another one, another class, 2 attributes, 2 operations. Let's see, this is my housing manager. So manager name is a string. Manager role is a string. Set role, new role, and get role. Keep in mind that you can start with setters and getters. Feel free to go beyond. Sometimes it's not easy to come up with unique behavior for your objects. That's okay, you can just stick with setters and getters, and this is for me a housing manager. And then I'm gonna add another one. So here are my housing spaces represented by this class. I'm gonna add 2 attributes, 2 methods, and space type. Let's say I have this as numerical attributes and space capacity, again probably as a number. Get capacity and I'm gonna update type in case they renovate. New type. So if you wanted to, you can set the return values like this. Get capacity would return a decimal. It's up to you how much detail you want to include in your first cut design class diagram. What we want from you is a number of methods and more importantly your navigation visibility. So I'm going to say for navigation visibility, I'm going to say a housing manager can access information that a colonist object stores in it and access information the housing space object stores in it. Now the way I have designed my software is that colonist and housing space, they do not interact directly. Instead they go through a housing manager. Now there are other objects in my system that will help the interaction happen and colonists get the space they wanted to. But this is all I need for this set of objects. So a housing manager gets information from the colonist, a housing manager gets information from the housing space, and it probably updates another object that is called an application. So if I had an application here, which I could, so I'm calling this application housing application, so the manager would also look at the application, would also the colonist would also update the application. So if I have this design, I could probably delete that. So look at this, this is even better. My housing manager reads the information it needs from the application, it reads the information from the housing space, it updates the application, and the colonist also updates information in application and views the changes when it needs to. This is a better design. Now if you go through your first cut design class diagram, you add the links, just keep in mind that you don't want to have too many links. We're going to talk about coupling, we're going to talk about a few other object-oriented design principles next week. But the main idea is that we don't want to have too many interactions, because that's going to create too many dependencies, and if that's the case, changing one area of your program will have an impact on so many other areas. This is not a good thing, and we don't like it in object-oriented design. This is ArgoUML. The link is there on ReggieNet for you to download. This is an alternative to Microsoft Visio. If you still want to work with Visio, you can, but I heard from some of you that you had issues with it, so that's why we're doing it here. I'm going to come back with your first cut design class diagram and a sequence